A conclusion or claim, this is the C part of CEA, is a statement indicating the conclusion the author wants the reader to take away. Like if I'm like, everybody should have a pet, or you should avoid that part of town. So that's the opinion part. That's the part where the author's like, you should believe me about this thing. So they're going to be typed out. It's not something you have to do in your head. Like it'll be clearly stated. So that's a real gift. Claims are directly stated, and they're going to be supported with evidence. So let me give you a chance to read a sample argument. This is the first one we're going to look at today. And all I ask you to do is just read the portion coming up in the middle of your screen, starting with in the past few years. Take a moment to read it. So remember that CEA stands for conclusion, evidence, assumptions. I'll put that and leave that at the top for you for CEA. All right, so we're looking at this argument. It says in the past few years, the majority of state governments have passed laws making it illegal to send text messages while driving. That's true here in Virginia, where I am. These laws are clearly a good decision for which legislators should be praised. Drivers are 23 times more likely to have accidents while texting than they are while driving undistracted. It's common sense that the government has a responsibility to protect its citizens from the recklessness of a careless few. So if in your own words you were to identify the person's opinion about what's going on, let's try it. In the everyone chat, be brave, safe place for mistakes. What's this person's opinion about these laws that have been passed for, making text messaging while driving illegal? Is it a good thing? A bad thing? Good. And that's a fact there, Javin. That's right. Right. So, right, the laws. Yes, about the laws. So I want to check in with you about that. The person's opinion about the laws that say, hey, texting is illegal. Does the person like the laws? Is that a good thing? Yeah. So the texting is bad. Totally agree with you. Yeah. But the person's opinion here is that these laws are good. So this person supports the law. Right. So please give me a high five. I want to show you the virtual high five. You can find that caret above the number 6 on your keyboard. That's a high five there. If you're like, okay, I can see it. This person talking likes the laws. Now, it's not like this person likes the text messaging. The person likes the laws. It says, hey, text messaging, that should be illegal. Cool? Okay, that's the person's opinion. Now, not everyone has this opinion, right? Some people are like, what are you talking about? I love texting and driving. I can do it safely, blah, blah. Sometimes I have to. There are other opinions. But this is the opinion of the person here. So what we're looking at is the C for conclusion. I'm talking about the claim. The claim is the opinion part. The conclusion or claim is the opinion, and this person's opinion is that the laws are a good idea to restrict text messaging. Facts, reasons, stats that the author uses to convince the reader that the claim is good. So, like, remember how the person's claim was these laws preventing texting while driving are a good thing? There's some evidence to back this up. So let me bring up that argument again. And I ask you to share with me a fact that supports this person's opinion that these laws are good. What's a fact? Did you see a number? That's usually a, yeah. Right, goodly. Drivers are 23 times more likely to have an accident while texting than they are while driving undistracted. So this is the evidence, the fact stuff that's here to get us to say, okay, yeah, these laws are a good idea. So remember that the evidence is the E part of CEA. And if you have questions, by the way, I did see a question a little earlier up about what page we're on. Please come on down to the Q&A at the bottom or click on more if you can't see Q&A and chat directly with my co-teacher and good friend Boris, and he will help you. We don't want to miss your question. All right, so we have seen the evidence, and you're absolutely right. The evidence is that drivers are 23 times more likely to have accidents while texting. That's the fact stuff. Evidence is the fact stuff. We've seen the conclusion, the opinion part, these laws are good. We've seen the evidence, texting makes people more likely to get into an accident. And now we're going to talk about evaluating the evidence. Now, just because someone gives you evidence doesn't mean that it's believable, right? Like, I read it on the internet, or I saw it on TV, or my friend said. Okay, so for an argument to be valid, for us to believe the conclusion, it has to be supported by relevant and provable evidence. Right, exactly. Oh, I love it. I saw it on TikTok. Yeah. Or I heard. I mean, perhaps the person is providing evidence. But as you know from living your real life, not all evidence is believable. Some of it's made up. So we have some questions that we're going to be asking ourselves to help us figure out, is the evidence legit? Because you and I naturally are going to bring with us a healthy dose of skepticism for faulty reasoning. You know when stuff is suspicious. Like infomercials where they're like, you will never need to something something again if you buy this product, like that. We're skeptical. We're skeptical. Good, Brian. Like bias. Yeah. So let's be wary about these types. Check this out. Emotional appeals. Like, oh, but this person really, 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 really needs it. For example, I kid you not, I saw on, do you have the Nextdoor app, by the way? Do you like follow what's going on in your neighborhood and stuff? I like the when down here in Virginia they get into like what kind of snake is this, right? That's fun. But anyhow, the Nextdoor app is just question like neighbors asking each other questions, and the area can be pretty big. So here's an example of an emotional appeal that was not legit that I saw the other day, where a person was like really cold. I'm really having a hard time. I really need a space heater. Does someone have a space heater that they can give me? And like they're playing on the feelings of like, oh, wow, we don't want this person to be cold, right? It's so cold outside. And then the next day, we all learn from somebody else posting, wow, that individual was given a space heater and sold it. So the emotional appeal is designed to like get us to buy into something, but it may or may not be reliable. Maybe the person really wasn't cold, but just trying to like run a little scam. So you've heard that before, like, oh, can you help me? I need this. So emotional appeal, fear, pity. Next up, popular opinion. Please give me a Y for yes if you've heard someone say something like, well, everyone thinks, or now we all know, right? Yeah. So, well, why do you feel like that? Nobody likes that. Everybody likes this other thing, right? So just because, and we've all heard some adult when we were kids saying, well, if so and so did this, would you also do that? I mean, popular opinion, it exists. Whether or not it's reliable, we should be skeptical when it's like everyone says this or everyone likes that. And also confusing two related facts for cause and effect. So perhaps you've heard the statement correlation doesn't necessarily represent causation. So if I tell you something like, every time I take my golden retriever Jack outside, it's sunny. It must be the case that Jack is the one bringing out the sun. Uh, I guess that's possible. But it's also possible that I only take Jack out when it's sunny, right? So if we're seeing this clearly causes that, Even though those two things might be happening at the same time, or one is causing the other, we can say not necessarily Jack is the one responsible for the sunny days. So these are things that are going to make us be skeptical of the evidence. Is there an emotional plea? Is everybody saying it, so it must be true? Or did this cause that? Well, maybe, right? Maybe not. And one more. Oh no, that's it. Just three things to be skeptical about. And you have heard these things before in life and said to yourself, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that. So remember that evidence will be provided, but whether or not it's reliable is not guaranteed. And we have to be kind of narrowing our eyes, looking at it like, is this believable evidence? I ask you to read just the first paragraph, and of course, not paragraph 2. Take a moment to read. So we've already read passage 1. That was a little while ago. What are passage 1 and passage 2 authors both talking about? Yes, MA, right. Mercury amalgam. Thankfully, we're going to say MA, yeah. Okay. Do they agree or disagree that the environmental impact of mercury is serious? You bet they agree. They're like, yeah, yeah, we agree. Uh-huh. So talk to me about the health risks. Does passage 2 agree or disagree with the health risks associated with MA? You bet, you got it. So they're both talking about MA, and passage 2 says, yeah, environment for real. That's a thing. But the health issues, not so much. So that's a point of disagreement. Environmental problems, yes, but health concerns, not so much. So let's see if we learn more about why we should buy into the health effects being not that bad. Let's start reading paragraph 2. Okay, so they agree people who have MA fillings absorb small amounts of mercury. Okay, so they're not saying, no, 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 people don't absorb that. They'll concede that point. But look at this word, however, it's a big turning point. It's a key word that tells us now I'm coming upon an opinion that's different. All right, let's read on to paragraph 2 on the next page. So sure, they absorb some stuff, but dun dun dun. Let's read the rest of paragraph 2. What's this person's statement about why absorbing MA might not be as troublesome as passage 1 wants us to believe? Good. There's language about no convincing argument. Uh-huh. No convincing study. No evidence. Very nice, Kelsey. Yep. Uh-huh. Right. Good job. And it passes, right? The mercury is excreted in the urine. Good. True or false? The author talks about MA providing some kind of advantage to people. True or false? Right, true. What is this person saying about MA that customers or consumers or dental patients might like better? Right? Last longer. Huh. Than RC. So, about MA. Do you suppose it's this writer's opinion that MA should be banned? Nope. Nope. So they're both talking about MA, and this second person does say, okay, the environment thing, it's legit, but people pass the mercury, it's not absorbed, and MA lasts longer. So this is a difference. This is a difference here. Evidence of, supporting the idea MA is actually better. Now let's read on to paragraph 3. However, so when we're looking at the disposal of mercury, or we'll call it MA, in dental offices absolutely must be regulated. Is this an A, agreement point between the two passages, or D, disagree? Good, they agree. They agree. Yep. They both say, yeah, it's bad for the environment. We really have to make sure this stuff gets disposed of properly. So they agree about that. So here's another thing. They're both talking about MA. They both agree the impacts on the environment are legit. Now we're going to read on to the very end. Take a moment. This next sentence started with protection. EPA estimates that. Let's read this paragraph here. So this passage B, or passage 2, author's opinion, should MA continue to be available to dental consumers? Yes, should be. Right, right. What's the reason that this person champions MA? Goodly, it lasts longer. Good, Hadrian, more durable. Right. Uh-huh. And what would passage 1 and passage 2 person agree about in terms of the environment? MA is good for the environment, MA is bad for the environment. Yeah, bad, harmful. They both say, "Oh my goodness, this is bad." Like there is a bad impact, and something person 2 says something has to be done about it. Good. EPA, legit. Legit source of evidence there. It's not like, well, my cousin said, right? This is a serious piece of evidence going on. And but yeah, they say keep it around for the fillings, but let's fix something involving the environment. Good. All right. We have read passage 1, and we did the questions that went with passage 1. We've now read passage 2. Where are we going next? Good. The questions for passage 2. That's exactly right. So I'm going to cover the answer choice options for now. Read the question with me. Notice how it's so clear it's about passage 2. It says, which statement best describes the supporting evidence? In paragraph 3 of passage 2. Okay, supporting evidence. Hmm. Let's zero in on this part. After all, this is the evidence. You can tell because it's citing a legitimate source, the EPA. All right, so as we take you to the answer choice options, please vote in Boris's poll about the evidence here in passage 2. Take your time. Thirty more seconds. Good, thanks for voting. Last 15 seconds, jump in. Good, here we go. The correct answer to this question is D. It is a convincing statistic from a reliable source. Now, B was a little tempting to us, and I do like the first half of B. It is seemingly a convincing statistic. Yep. Yep. But the source is indeed trustworthy. That's the problem with choice B, untrustworthy. EPA has decades of relevant research conducted. This is definitely a reliable source here. The first half of B is good, but the second half is bad. So yeah, it's a convincing stat from a reliable source. So remember, sometimes the evidence is suspect, my cousin said, and sometimes the evidence is legit, like here. We have the name of an organization and we have some numbers provided. Reliable. If you've got questions about that, please come chat with us so we can help out. Let's go do another question involving passage 2. Actually, this is for both passages, my bad. The focus of both passages. So before we even get to the answer choice options, in your own words, tell me, what are both passages talking about? MA, right? Uh-huh. And, right, good. Whether or not they should be banned. Yep. And why? Those are your hints. Please eliminate bad answers and vote in Boris's poll for the correct answer to question number 4. I'll give you 20 more seconds. Be sure to pick an answer right in line with what we predicted in the chat here. Thanks for voting. So the correct answer to this question is B. You predicted MA. That's what these are both about. So mercury dental amalgam, MA. That's correct. So it is true that this is a dental issue being discussed, but alert. Choice D says dental health risks. I guess what, in general? I mean, that would involve things like anesthesia and stuff outside of the scope of this passage. So when we come up with a prediction, what are they both talking about? Stay true to that prediction, select an answer right in line with that, and B gets it right. It's about MA. You're doing a great job with these paired passages. Keep up the good work.